Okay, it looks like we are live, and I'm sorry we didn't go up with this earlier. Honestly, I didn't know if this was important enough to make a live stream out of it, especially when we just uploaded a video this morning. And I'll say it's probably not smart for me to live stream this because it's probably going to really hurt the video that we uploaded this morning. But nonetheless, we were getting nonstop questions on it through Patreon, so I figured might as well not just make a Patreon podcast like we've done with some other minor news throughout the course of this offseason. Might as well just go through and make an official statement on what we are going to be doing with Teddy Bridgewater, what we are going to be doing with the players in the Denver Broncos offense. So I will say I haven't had time to really dive into this. I know it was a 6th round pick. What I want to see is I want to see the Teddy Bridgewater contract, because we know that Teddy Bridgewater got signed to a pretty big deal with guaranteed money last offseason. Now I want to see where the guaranteed money ends. Okay, so starting in 2022, Teddy Bridgewater has $0 on the dead cap. So we can essentially assume that this is a deal literally only for 2021. And it looks like the Broncos are only taking a $3 million cap hit if Spotrac is correct with this information. Okay, so that's not as good for Teddy Bridgewater as I initially thought, because my initial thoughts were, hey, if they're going to be paying him $20 million to be the starting quarterback there, they're most likely not going to be looking at a guy that they can get in the NFL draft. But no, if it's true and they're only paying him $3 million and the Panthers are covering the rest, then literally the Broncos can still draft a quarterback in the NFL draft. So based on that knowledge, I would say that if you can go through and if you can just straight up sell Teddy Bridgewater, that is something we would like to do. Now, of course, it's going to be a little bit difficult to do that just because you're looking at a situation where, yeah, Teddy Bridgewater really has no long-term impact. Also, Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have the short-term upside because he doesn't have the rushing capability. But what he does have now is he has quite possibly one of the best situations in the entire NFL. If he indeed is the starting quarterback in 2021, which I will say I know a lot of people are going to initially think that right away, but that doesn't have to be the case. If you look at the contract, if you look at the team investment, also the Denver Broncos still could go with the Trey Lance. They could still go with the Justin Fields. And I know it's disgusting to sound Justin Fields. Most people think that he is going to go in the top 5 picks of the NFL draft. Most people think that he is the quarterback 3 off the board. Now, I will say if you look at Vegas odds, that does not necessarily line up. And I would say that Vegas is probably more correct than the Dynasty community. But regardless, the Broncos still can draft a quarterback. Now, I will say if Teddy Bridgewater is indeed the starter for 2021, this is going to have an impact for the skill positional players for the Denver Broncos in that, A, we know Teddy Bridgewater is a quarterback that will always have a very low average depth of target. And he can support some great fantasy options. We've seen this before whenever he got the chance to start in New Orleans. Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, their value didn't go anywhere. I mean, we know that Alvin Kamara, when Taysom Hill was under center, I mean, he pretty much fell off the face of the earth just because Taysom Hill wasn't looking to check the ball down. But no, that's Teddy Bridgewater's game. Teddy Bridgewater's game is to go through his progressions, find a safe throw near the line of scrimmage, not ever going to be a world beater, the exact opposite of a Jameis Winston, but you can guarantee those players that are running close to the line of scrimmage. You saw this at the beginning of the season when Robbie Anderson was actually used in that role for Carolina last year. And then later on in the season, that role actually kind of transitioned more over to DJ Moore. And that's why DJ Moore had a very slow start at the beginning, because if you looked at his average depth of target, it was actually a lot higher in that DJ Moore was being used as the vertical threat. It took them a little bit of time to make that switch, but eventually they did. And eventually you saw the guy that was running close to the line of scrimmage, producing for fantasy. Now, if we were looking at who is going to do that in the Denver Broncos offense, clearly it's not KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler is the prototypical field stretcher. He's the guy with the elite speed that's going to be clearing out space underneath for the other guys to operate. Now, between Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, if you look at their overall profiles, it looks like Jerry Jeudy is most likely the best route runner. It looks like he's most likely going to be able to generate the most separation close to the line of scrimmage, as well as over the middle of the field. So that would help Jerry Jeudy. And in the case of Cortland Sutton, I mean, Cortland Sutton is that big-bodied wide receiver that is fantastic at the catch point. So I'd imagine if he's playing a little bit more on the outside, if he's playing a little bit more in tight coverage, maybe Teddy Bridgewater coming in doesn't help Sutton. Now with Fant is a little bit different because we know that Noah Fant has elite speed for a tight end, but it's a little bit different in that Noah Fant profiles to be a little bit more the George Kittle, where you saw a lot of the production from Noah Fant, at least through his first 2 years in the NFL. It's coming yards after the catch. It's coming by the way that he is getting targeted 4 yards, 5, 6 yards down the field, very short, and then he is just taking it another 10 on his own with his own athleticism. So I think this helps Noah Fant. It helps Jerry Jeudy, hurts Cortland Sutton, and it hurts KJ Hamler. Now, that's the case where Teddy Bridgewater is actually the starting quarterback in 2021. Now, like I said, we went over the dead money. We went over how much they're going to be paying him, as well as a 6th round pick is absolutely nothing. So this investment doesn't mean that he is going to be for sure their starting quarterback this season. You could still see them go with another guy in the draft if they like someone who falls to them. So please, if you own Teddy Bridgewater in Superflex, don't think that you just got a guaranteed starting quarterback for this season, because that's not the case. And also, I'll say, if you're talking about a 1 quarterback league, Teddy Bridgewater has absolutely no value, because despite however good the situation is, we know that Bridgewater himself is not going to run the ball. You have never seen that with Teddy Bridgewater, even before the massive injury that he suffered. So if he doesn't have the rushing upside, what you are looking for is you're looking for the quarterback that has that very aggressive tendency to chunk the ball down the field, similar to what we had with Jameis Winston in 2019. So you can deal with a game manager quarterback. You can deal with a game manager quarterback in fantasy being completely relevant if he has some rushing capabilities to him. Or if he doesn't have the rushing upside, then at least you're going to be looking for the strong-armed quarterback, a guy like Matthew Stafford that can chunk the ball down the field. But Teddy Bridgewater doesn't even possess either. So in the case of a single quarterback league, I think that pretty much everything you're going to be doing there is shooting for someone that has a ton of upside. You're going to be shooting for someone that could conceivably finish in the top 5. Bridgewater doesn't have that capability. So in a single quarterback league, really not interested with Bridgewater at all. If you can just say trade Teddy Bridgewater in the rookie pick 204 to get up to the rookie pick 202, that's something that I would be willing to do. Just any marginal upgrade where you can. In a Superflex league, this is where it's a little bit different, because we know that the bar for a difference-making quarterback on your roster is so much lower, because pretty much if you're a starting quarterback, you should expect at the very minimum see 14 points a game, especially in a fantastic situation like the Denver Broncos. So Bridgewater only has value in Superflex. Now, the value that he'll have is he'll probably have the floor of a low-end quarterback 2 and the ceiling of a high-end quarterback 2, just because the situation is so good. I mean, it would be hard to fail whenever you have Sutton, Hamler, Fant, and Jeudy, unless your name's Drew Lock, unless you're one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the entire NFL. But I think it's safe to say at this point that Teddy Bridgewater is not that. Now, let me go to the general chat real quick. Let me see if y'all have any opinions on this. Let me see where y'all think that you should be going with the Carolina team. Okay, Billiken Baller says Lance to Denver to sit behind Teddy Bridgewater. That would be interesting. If Lance falls to Denver, that's something I would love to see. But I'm telling you, I looked at the Vegas odds earlier this morning. I was talking with Point God on Discord, and pretty much looks like most people have Trey Lance going off the board before Denver's selection. So I would be surprised if Lance actually does fall all the way down there. Zedbout saying he thinks that this benefits Fant a lot. I'll say, yeah, like I said, I think that this is a small bump up for Noah Fant, because Noah Fant will run a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. He will have the elite yards after the catch ability, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's not like they're getting Deshaun Watson in here. It's not like this is going to drastically change a lot for Noah Fant. While, yeah, it should bump him up slightly, I don't know if it will help too much. Now, Liam says Teddy can coach up Justin Fields. Now, let me know what y'all think with this. I'm not saying that I'm right in this thought. I could easily be wrong. But I would think that Teddy Bridgewater wouldn't necessarily be a great mentor for Justin Fields or Trey Lance, because from my elementary viewpoint, it looks like they are two completely different style of quarterbacks between the Trey Lance and the Teddy Bridgewater, where, I mean, what can Teddy Bridgewater tell Trey Lance that would actually correlate to the way Trey Lance plays football? They're just two completely different players playing the position two completely different ways. So let me know if y'all are wrong. I mean, if I'm wrong with this, guys, because I don't have a set opinion on that. That's something I could easily be wrong with, just because, I mean, it's not like I've been an NFL quarterback before. It's not like I've been an NFL coach before. So obviously it's going to be hard to say. But Billiken Baller says, I just drafted Teddy in the 19th round of my startup yesterday. Insane value. That is fantastic. JN says that orphan squad, Teddy Bridgewater, Jerry Jeudy, accidental stack. Man, that is awesome. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all think that I am wrong in saying that this probably hurts Cortland Sutton while helping Jerry Jeudy, and this hurts KJ Hamler while helping Noah Fant. And all these are marginal because it's not like Teddy Bridgewater is some massive upgrade over Drew Lock. And like I said, another quarterback can still be drafted. Another quarterback can still come in. I think that this just gives them a little bit of a floor. Maybe they don't have the quarterback that they want fall to them, and they go, you know what? We don't want to be the laughing stock of the NFL in 2021. Let's bring in someone that can handle an NFL offense, which Drew Lock clearly could not last season. Okay, Mr. Mort says, yeah, but kind of like Alex Smith isn't the same type of quarterback that Patrick Mahomes is. Man, that's a completely fair point. Thank you for letting me know that. Thank you for putting it in my place, because that is 100% true. Okay, Legacy says Teddy Bridgewater goes hard when he rushes. How many rushing yards does Teddy Bridgewater actually have in his entire NFL career? Let me look this up. Okay, let's look this up real quick. Okay, so if we pull up Teddy Bridgewater, he has started 49 career games. Obviously, we're not going to count the games where he came in as a backup. And within those 49 games that he has started, we have seen, where is the rushing stats here? Okay, in those 49 games, he has 713 yards. So you can expect about 15 rushing yards a game throughout the course of his entire career. So I don't know if that's something you can get too excited about. I mean, that's not as bad as a Phillip Rivers, a Drew Brees, or a Tom Brady, but it's pretty damn close. Okay, so let's go through. And Berto says, Teddy B, just insurance policy, LOL, $3 million and a sixth for a quarterback. Yeah, man, that's why I came on here and I was ready to say that I thought Teddy Bridgewater was going to be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos, but I came back from the park, came back from walking the dog. That way I didn't have that much time to do any research. And then when we started the live stream, I looked up Teddy Bridgewater's contract, and it looked like the Panthers were covering the most of it, and it's only $3 million. So yeah, in the case it's $3 million, I mean, that's the lowest investment that you could ever make into a quarterback at the NFL level. It's almost no investment whatsoever. I mean, the call was probably worth more than anything, to be honest. Okay, so let's go through, and Berto is saying the Broncos are too good to get a top quarterback in the draft next year. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same issue that you have with Chicago, the same issue that you have with New England. These teams that have good pieces, yet they don't have the quarterback. It's almost impossible to ever go and actually find that quarterback unless you're willing to just pay out the nose like the 49ers did to move up to 3, but that's a very strong asking price. Okay, Ron saying, I like it if it helps Jeudy. Man, let me know if you think it helps Jeudy, because like I said, I think that just naturally, assuming Jeudy is the wide receiver that's running a little bit more over the middle of the field rather than on the boundary, and we know Teddy Bridgewater, his strength isn't in his arm. His strength is in his accuracy, in his decision-making. I'd imagine that you want to get the guys closer to the line of scrimmage. You want to get the guys over the middle of the field rather than at the boundaries, which I'm kind of naturally assuming that is Jerry Jeudy rather than Cortland Sutton. Okay, Mr. Mort says, if they draft Lancer Fields or Jones, what happens to Drew Lock? I doubt they cut Drew Lock. I'd imagine Drew Lock just sits there as the quarterback 3 on the roster, and maybe his second contract, he can go find a backup job somewhere else. If not, you could see him be the Blake Bortles, where I believe Blake Bortles was a backup in LA his first year out of Jacksonville. After that, Blake Bortles was just completely out of the NFL. I think you're looking at Drew Lock being a different case, because Lock was actually a second-round pick, and we've seen that the NFL is always willing to recycle those first-round pick quarterbacks, wide receivers, whoever it is. I mean, a perfect example of the wide receiver position is the fact that Sammy Watkins just got a massive contract to go to Baltimore. I mean, Sammy Watkins, who hasn't done anything in years, just got the same deal that you had with a guy like Will Fuller, who Will Fuller was fantastic last season, a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster. So you've seen before that the NFL will recycle those players that get the draft capital, that have the pedigree, but that's not the case with Drew Lock. Drew Lock was a second-round upside pick by the Denver Broncos. It didn't work out. So if Drew Lock is out of the league in a year, I don't think really anybody's going to be surprised. Okay, let's go through and Dynasty. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I think that maybe this is it. I see. Also, thank you all so much, guys, for dropping 20 likes on the video. And I will say real quick that if y'all have not already, turn on notifications, because tomorrow we are going to be doing so many fun things. Okay, obviously the draft is tomorrow, and y'all probably know this by now, but what we are going to be doing is every single time there's a significant pick for fantasy football purposes, we are going to be going live just like we did here. So I'm sure that if you are subscribed, if you have your notifications on, you were able to come out here, you were able to see this update. If not, maybe you're watching this as a video later on, but we are going to be doing that throughout the course of the NFL draft. And also, more importantly, we have real life Dynasty Flock Patreon leagues, every single one. So over 10 leagues, their rookie drafts start tomorrow. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be able to come on and I am going to be the only person that you can find this real information with, where most people are going in the NFL draft. I mean, if Najee Harris gets drafted with a 24th overall pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers and you want to know where he's going to go in rookie drafts, this is the place where you can find it. Just make sure you have your notification bell hit. That way you can come out whenever I start recapping those rookie mock drafts. I'm sorry, not even mock drafts. Whenever I start recapping those real life drafts. And then afterwards, we can run some of our own mocks with whatever y'all think. Just got to make sure you're out here. And yeah, guys, that's all I got. Y'all absolutely killed this like button. And yeah, that's it. I am very much looking for tomorrow. I'm like a child on Christmas Eve, but I will see y'all